A young lady sat in a bus. At the next stop, a loud and grumpy old lady came and sat by her. She squeezed into the seat and bumped her with her numerous bags. The person sitting on the other side of the young lady got upset, asked her why she did not speak up and say something. The young lady responded with a smile. "It is not necessary to be rude or argue over something so insignificant, the journey together is so short. I get off at the next stop." This response deserves to be written in golden letters. It is not necessary to argue over something so insignificant, our journey together is so short. If each one of us realized that, our time here is so short, that to darken it with quarrels, futile arguments, not forgiving others, discontentment and a fault-finding attitude would be a waste of time and energy. Did someone break your heart? Be calm, the journey is so short. Did someone betray, bully, cheat or humiliate you? Be calm, forgive, the journey is so short. Whatever troubles anyone brings us, let us remember that, our journey together, is so short. No one knows the duration of this journey. No one knows when their stop will come. Our journey together is so short. Let us cherish friends and family. Let us be respectful, kind and forgiving to each other. Let us be filled with gratitude and gladness. If I have ever hurt you, I ask for your forgiveness. If you have ever hurt me, you already have my forgiveness. After all, our journey together is so short. If you like this story, you can share it and subscribe to my channel. A young man became obsessed with a passion for truth, so he took leave of his family and friends and set out in search of it. He traveled over many lands, sailed across many oceans, climbed many mountains. And, all in all, went through a great deal of hardship and suffering. One day, he awoke to find he was 75 years old and had still not found the truth he had been searching for. So he decided, sadly, to give up the search and go back home. It took him months to return to his hometown, for he was an old man now. Once home, he opened the door of his house and there he found truth that had been patiently waiting for him all those years. Question: did his journeying help him to find truth? Answer: no, but it prepared him to recognize it. Thanks for watching. If you like this story, you can share it and subscribe to my channel. A man grew up with the decision that he would be satisfied with nothing but the very best. This decision helped him to become very successful and very rich, so he now had the means with which to provide himself with nothing but the best. Now, it so happened that he was suffering from a severe attack of tonsillitis. A condition that could have been dealt with effectively by any qualified surgeon in the land. But, impressed as he was with a sense of his own importance, and goaded by his obsession, to provide himself with the very best that the medical world had to offer, he began to move, from one town to another, one country to another, in search of the best man for the job. Each time some particularly competent surgeon was recommended to him. He began to fear that there might just possibly be someone who was even more competent. One day, his condition became so bad and his throat so infected, that an operation had to be performed immediately, for his life was in danger. But the man was in a semi-comatose state, in a God-forsaken village, where the only person who had used a knife, on a living creature, was the village butcher. He was a remarkably good butcher and went to work with a will, but when he got to the man's tonsils, he didn't quite know what he was supposed to do with them. And while he was busy consulting people who knew as little as he, the poor patient for whom nothing but the very best was good enough bled to death. Two jewel merchants arrived at a caravanserai in the desert at about the same time one night. Each was quite conscious of the other's presence and, while unloading his camel, one of them could not resist the temptation to let a large pearl fall to the ground as if by accident. It rolled in the direction of the other, who, with affected graciousness, picked it up and returned it to its owner saying, "That is a fine pearl you have there, sir. As large and lustrous as they come." "How gracious of you to say so," said the other. As a matter of fact, that is one of the smaller gems in my collection." A Bedouin who was sitting by the fire and had observed this drama, rose and invited the two of them to eat with him. When they began their meal, this is the story he told them. "I too, my friends, was, once upon a time, a jeweler like you. One day I was overtaken by a great storm in the desert. It buffeted me and my caravan this way and that till I was separated from my entourage and lost my way completely. Days passed and I was panic-stricken to realize that I was really wandering about in circles with no sense of where I was or which direction to walk in. Then, almost dead with starvation, I unloaded every bag on my camel's back, anxiously searching through them for the 100th time. Imagine my excitement when I came upon a pouch that had escaped my notice before. With trembling fingers I ripped it open hoping to find something to eat. Imagine my disillusionment when I found that all it contained was pearls. A man caught a bird. The bird said to him, 'Release me, and I will give you 3 valuable pieces of advice. I will give you the first when you let me go, the second when I fly up to that branch, and the third when I fly up to the top of the tree.' The man agreed, and let the bird go. Now free, the bird said, 'Do not torture, torment and burden yourself with excessive regret for past mistakes.' The bird then flew up to a branch and said, 'Do not believe anything that goes against common sense, unless you have first-hand proof.' Then the bird flew up to the top of the big tree and said, 'You fool! I have 2 huge jewels inside of me. If you had killed me instead of letting me go, you would have been rich.' 'Darn it,' the man exclaimed. 'How could I have been so stupid? I am never going to get over this. Bird, can you at least give me the third piece of advice as a consolation?' The bird replied, 'I was merely testing you. You are asking for further advice, yet you already disregarded the first 2 pieces of advice I gave you. First, I told you not to torment yourself with excessive regret for past mistakes. And second, I told you not to believe things that go against common sense, unless there is first-hand proof. And yet, you just tormented yourself with regret for letting me go, and you also believed that somehow, there are 2 huge jewels, inside a tiny bird like me. So, here now, is your third piece of advice. If you are not applying what you already know, why are you so intent on gaining what you do not know?' If you like this story, you can share it and subscribe to my channel.